really got to try on that left-hand side. What happened?
Oh, but I've gone up and over and bloody head over biscuit. It wasn't enough stability there for myself, but no, I was busting for a bit of meat this game. It didn't seem to work out.
Hello, cheers, and welcome to the Scrum of the Earth podcast. Very late this week, by the way, but we are the weekly show for news, reviews, great interviews, and so much more all about the world of rugby. My name is David Lawrence. I'm an American rugby fan who follows the game wherever I can find it all over the globe. If you'd like to get in touch, well, I'm easy to find on all your socials, especially Blue Sky. But you can always just drop an email to thescrumoftheearth@gmail.com if you want to say hi. So there was an entirely reasonable crop of rugby in store for us this weekend for a change. So why don't we get this thing going? So starting, as always, with our current updates, the obvious news here is started my new job this week. You know, not going to lie, the commute sucks. It's 75 miles. It's a lot. But everything else about it is great. After 2 years feeling trapped on a sinking ship, combined with another 2 years prior to that of doing anything and everything I could just to make ends meet, I mean, I can't tell you what a difference it is. It's not worth going on and on about here. Let's just say the combination of relief and gratitude I feel right now, it's overwhelming. It's just fantastic. A very sincere thank you to all of you who've reached out with your support these last few years. It's really been amazing. I can't tell you how much it's meant to me. It's been unbelievable, and truly, thank you all.
It's too good. People have to know.
Well, Isa, I don't know if it's really good or bad news this week. It just kind of feels like more of the same. So, Danny Cipriani, yeah, remember him? He's come out saying mean and likely entirely truthful things about the reign of Eddie Jones with England. The thing is Cipriani just trying to get back in the headlines with this? Every time someone comes out to say how awful Jones is or was as a coach, it always feels suspiciously timed. But on the other hand, I continue to lap it up because I can't freaking stand Eddie Jones. Maybe after he leaves Japan in total shambles, people will finally stop hiring him and we can finally all stop talking about him. Wouldn't that be amazing? Anyway, moving on to our thoughts of the week. My thoughts of the week are all about the nonsense with the substitution error, air quotes, from Wales on the weekend. At this point, there have been several so-called explanations for what happened, the latest of which seems to be the radios weren't working right. The problem with this and every other excuse was the substitution was made long before halftime, which means even if they'd been the victims of, faulty technology, they were all together in the locker room to talk about it face to face, and they were perfectly capable of fixing the mistake, but they didn't. I'm not even specifically a Wales fan, but this makes me so mad. Like, the disastrous second reign of Warren Gatland, I don't even know what to say. I was kind of thinking about it this week, and I'm like, the noble thing for him to do, pretty obviously, would be to resign, right? That's what he should do. He should resign. But the money, I mean, let's be honest. Like, if somebody told you you could keep your incredibly lucrative job or be a noble person and quit and not know what your next job is going to be, what would you do? Like, I have a hard time believing I would pull the trigger on that, if I'm honest. Like, the whole thing sucks either way. If the WRU could afford it, they probably would have fired him already, but he's got them completely over a barrel. Of course, now that I think about it, on the other hand, it's the WRU, so let's all get prepared for a huge contract extension coming our way soon. Anyway, that, of course, brings us to our reviews. For me, there wasn't, what I consider a ton of action this weekend, at least what I could see. Our tradition here is, of course, to start with the internationals. And for me, that meant we started with Ireland versus New Zealand, coming to us from a packed stadium in the Irish capital. Unlike the broadcast last week, they at least showed the haka led by Rico Ioane, but it wasn't the best rendition. The cameras totally botched it at the end, by the way. But at least they showed it, I suppose, so that was good. Anyway, because these games are streamed on Peacock, where I am, they kind of feel obligated to have American commentators sort of start off the broadcast, and it does not do us any favors as a nation. Like, it's as if they switch from the actual broadcast footage to, like, somebody's VHS tape that's been getting leaked on in a basement for a while, and the comms say things like, there's there's a lot of tradition here. I'm like, yeah, we know. Guys, come on. We can do better. Anyway, it was slow getting started. No tries scored in the first half, but it didn't take Ireland long to get our first early one in the second stanza, making it 13-9 in favor of the home team, who were up a player as well at the time, by the way. But side note, can the commentators get the names right, please? Rico Ioane is not Rico Ione. Like, how long has he been playing? How long have they known this? It kind of feels disrespectful at this stage. Like, not that he's like the upright pillar of humanity or anything, but getting people's names right, that seems like the first job for commentators, right? Either way. To me, it felt like Ireland were in control, though the penalty count was racking up against them. I didn't know where New Zealand's attack would come from at this stage because it had looked mostly non-existent for me. The Kiwis, they had a chance to retake the lead, but I was shocked to see Mackenzie doink one off the posts. He's been lethal off the tee recently. That felt like a potentially huge momentum shift. Full disclosure, I came into this game absolutely certain that Ireland would win by a lot. And at this point, for me, it had all those hallmarks. I was like, oh, I don't know. I was expecting a couple of breakaway tries for Ireland and an eventual scoreline that belied how close it felt at this point. But Mackenzie, though, he didn't miss his next opportunity. It was 13-15 fairly early in the second half. After it became clear Finlay Bealham would have to come back in almost immediately, by the way, after being subbed off. The mood kind of shifted, right? They even got a shot of Andy Farrell looking openly concerned in the booth, which is something I don't think I've ever seen before. Side note, whenever Will Jordan gets a try, I make like a dumb joke about it being his 7,000th try in however many games, but I realized there's literally no point in even joking about it because the actual real-life number is 37 tries in 39 appearances, and his try this weekend made it 5 tries in 5 games against the Irish. The guy is bizarre. If you missed my conversation, by the way, with Jamie Wall, the New England writer, New England, yes, he's from New England, the New Zealand writer and pundit, it's on the YouTube channel already. This phenomenon is just one of the many things we covered. It was great. I highly recommend you watch it. Anyway, James Lowe, he had an amazing kick for a 50-22 that set the stadium on fire. You had to hand it to that crowd because they were still behind by 10 with, just 7 minutes ticking down. But in the midst of a promising drive, it was my guy, Artie Savia, over the top for another perfectly timed turnover. And I realized I really needed to find my game over stamp. I haven't used it in a while. Anyway, quote, a weary carry from Finlay Bealham, unquote, they said, just basically rubbing it in, as New Zealand got another turnover to put the nail firmly in the coffin in Dublin. 13-23 was your final score. Ireland beaten at home. And by the way, I accidentally wrote eaten at home, and I just now almost said it. But you know what? Maybe that was how they were feeling at the time. Anyway, on Saturday morning, we got started with England versus Australia. I was honestly expecting a bit of a blowout in this one, based on, how mad England would be over the result last weekend, combined with the inconsistency of the Wallabies. But Aussie held close and managed to take a 2-point lead at halftime. The single word I wrote in my notes was incredible. This game, I got to tell you, turned into an instant classic. Even with a quarter hour to go, I figured there would be, one more score, and I figured it would go to England for the win. Oh, but I vastly underestimated the drama that was still to come. England did score, as I predicted, but Australia, they got one right back. It looked like they'd stolen it with only a few minutes to go, but then England, they got it right back. Surely that was it, right? Somehow no. No, it wasn't. In the 83rd minute, it was Max Jorgensen putting on the afterburners out wide to fly in for the winning try. What a match. What a performance by the Wallabies. Your unreal final score, which was Australia's highest score ever at Allianz London and England's highest score at home in a loss. I'm just blown away. It was 37-42. Incredible. Another side note. Joseph Sua'ali'i, what a debut. From what I've been hearing from Aussie fans, the thing that comes through the most is they're desperately trying to not go bonkers over it, just go totally over the top. It's almost funny, but I honestly, not Australian, I feel free to say the guy could be something really truly special. Have the Wallabies found themselves a game changer? Sua'ali'i, the shining light at the end of the long dark tunnel. Anyway, Next up, Italy. We're hosting Argentina. For the first 10 minutes, it was like Italy forgot they were allowed to actually attack. The Pumas had something like 90+% possession, but only 3 points to show for it, though. To be fair, a penalty try shifted the momentum the way of the Azzurri. It was a very reasonable 10-17 as we went to the break, but after scoring first in the second half, Italy, they kind of ran out of steam. Argentina just went to work, grinding them down. Early in that final quarter, it was 13-31, and it ended up 18-50. A massive result for the Pumas. And Italy, they look like they're regressing to me, like not good signs from them. Anyway, on Sunday, this is tough. We had Wales hosting a brand new Fiji team who looked nothing like they did last week. Wales started really strong, I thought, getting a try from debutant Blair Murray before 10 minutes had even gone by. And after only a quarter hour, they looked in control. To me, the momentum clearly in their favor. I wrote in my notes, quote, "Great start for Wales. Is it their lucky day?" unquote. And that was when the old nerves kicked in. Upon review, they judged that Rafael... Is it Reffel or Rafael? Please, somebody tell me. Even the comms are like, Reffel, Rafael. Somebody decide and please tell me. Anyway, they had ruled he had a dangerous clear out. Rightly so, and, bang, yellow card, try chalked off. And at that moment, I felt like everything had changed. For a while, it seemed like I was just imagining things as Wales got a penalty try and saw Fiji down to 13 players, with Rondra getting upgraded to a red. But I don't know, I was still worried for Welsh fans. Early in the second half, as it became 14-13 after a Caleb Muntz penalty, the comms said, quote, "Fiji know that if they can stay within one score, they have the players who can make something out of nothing at the end," unquote. And I literally got a chill. Caleb Muntz got the lead for the Flying Fijians for the first time all night, and I wrote, "Uh-oh," in the old notes. A try for the home team got waved off, even though I think they were wrong about it going forward. The shots of Gatland looking like he just wanted to jump into the ocean were priceless, frankly. A gorgeous try by the visitors looked like the nail in the coffin despite a full quarter of the match still to play. I swear, you can just feel it sometimes. But Bevan, he got an answering try to keep Wales within 2, so the game over stamp was still locked away in its little velvet-lined case. Sadly, for Wales, a promising drive got turned over, and it was Fiji holding on to secure their first ever victory in Cardiff, an historic day for both teams, with the Welsh matching their longest ever losing streak, which has now hit 10, it might be 11 actually, I might have that wrong, with no test victories this calendar year. Final score 19-24. Ouch. That one hurt. Elsewhere, of course, we had Scotland versus South Africa. I had a feeling Scotland were for a bit of a butt kicking. A lot of people have been saying they could or should have won it, but the final score didn't look that way. Finn kicked 5 penalties, but his team found not one single try. The Bucks nabbing 4, including a brace from Malpimpi. By the end, it was 15-32. After that, I'll have to be honest, I caught not one single minute of this France versus Japan game, but I was gratified to see Eddie Jones' team losing again. This team getting fairly demolished by a team more than happy to capitalize on their mistakes. France, they poured in 8 tries in the rout, including a pair from Louis Bielbarré, Loubébé himself. When it was all over, it was 52-12 in Saint-Denis. But of course, and I saved it for this place of honor, my USA Eagles defeated Portugal, hanging on for a nail-biter of a 17-21 final score. I think this was the most pleased I've been with our men in several years. It was 2 tries to 3, and it was on a razor's edge the entire game. It was one of those things like we were leading at the half, and then I watched Portugal go ahead with only 17 minutes to go, and I just can't tell you the sinking feeling I had. Like, I've seen this movie so many times. So when Capelli Pifoletti, he dotted down a lovely try on the 78th minute. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. It's just such a great outcome. Beating Portugal, this was a very big deal. If we parlayed that momentum into another win against Tonga this coming weekend, that's got special bonus episode written all over it, right? So good. I'm just over the moon for my Eagles. Great work, boys. Anyway, back in Clubland, the PWR was back in action once again. The Trailfinders lost at home to Gloucester Hartbury, who don't look as dominant to me this year. I can't quite put my finger on what's different. Ealing, they didn't score in the first half, but Grace White finally got them on the scoreboard in the 53rd minute. They added 2 more tries in the final 10 to make things look a little more respectable, including one from Tyson Bukaboom, who I don't think I've even mentioned this season somehow. Seems bizarre. Emma Singh, she probably deserved player of the match for her performance for the visitors. Your score by the end was 19-32. Harlequins, they bait up. Yes, they bait up. They beat up on winless Sale 38-7. By the way, go to the website and click on the statistics for this game. Some bizarre audio kicks in. It is mind-boggling. I highly recommend you do that before they realize it and change it. Anyway, sadly, Exeter more than doubled up my struggling Loughborough Lightning, 40-19. I was pleased to see Catherine Treader get over the whitewash late. My other silver lining had to be Chrissy Scurfield getting yellow, but then making up for it with a nice try soon after her return. And remember, the Chiefs are still unbeaten this year, so for me, could have been worse. Finally, and it was actually the first match of the weekend, but I saved it out of happiness and respect for my friend Rugby Julia, whose Bristol Bears went to Welford Road to take on hapless Leicester and promptly destroyed everything in their path. The visitors piled on a whopping 10 tries. Yeah, you heard that right, 10 tries, the first two of which came in the opening 5 minutes. The next 2 tries were from the married couple, Jazz and Alicia Joyce Butchers. How cool is that? The rest of the match, it continued the honeymoon for the entire Bears team by full time. I honestly felt bad for the Tigers, who lost at home and were still hunting for their first win this season. Final score for the weekend, for me at least, a massive 7-62 hiding. And when Bristol, when they get it going, they are so fun to watch. Incredible. Well, by the music, you'll know it's time for this week's Diamond in the Ruck Award. And this week, the award goes to Caleb Muntz. Mr. Muntz, you are pure magic this weekend. Everything you touched turned to gold. Your 19 points equaled the total for the opposition and the breakaway try of your own. How did that even happen? I showed the replay to my 8-year-old, and his first comment was, "How did he do that?" Caleb Muntz, congratulations to you, for you are this week's Diamond in the Ruck. Well done, sir. Okay, that brings us to our updates and previews. The rugby cupboard is rather bare this coming weekend, with the URC, the Prem, and the Top 14 taking collective breathers, and the PWR, they're taking a little week off too, which is probably good for them. Just gotta hit pause there. Anyway, that means it's mostly it's going to be the Autumn Nation Series. What surprises could be in store this time? I'm so keen to find out. On Friday, Ireland looked to get back to winning ways against Argentina. And of course, since Argentina looked really good last week, they're sure to bottle it this time. Scotland face a less ruthless opponent, let's say, in Portugal. Although, anyway, as soon as I said that, I feared that they would underestimate Portugal, put out a weird selection, do some sort of toony nonsense, and just drop their second in a row. Oy vey with this team already. There's a fascinating clash between France and New Zealand. I honestly don't know what to expect there, but I'm dying to see it. Italy, of course, will hope to get back in the batter's box against Georgia, who will be frothing at the mouth. You can bet. We've also got Wales versus Australia, 2 teams badly battered by the vicissitudes of modern rugby. And I never know who to root for in this matchup. I like it when either of these teams win, and honestly, it pains me when either of them lose. On the other hand, I'm an American, so I can't possibly root for a draw, Anyway, the game of the week, though, has to be England versus South Africa. Trivia question for you. When was the last time England lost 3 games in a row at home? If you know, get in touch, and we'll see if that's what indeed comes to pass. Okay. My friends, that does it for another week. I'm really excited for a few of these fixtures coming up, but I do have a feeling my teams will be in for a rough couple of weekends. As I'm saying this, I'm realizing that this is probably exactly what I said last week. It's going to be nice this weekend. There's some interesting matchups. I'm excited. There's not too much with my new job. I'm a little frazzled, as you can tell. It took me till Thursday night to actually put out the weekly pod. I apologize for that, but things are going good. I'm feeling upbeat. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling exhausted. Driving stressful, but on the other hand, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Anyway, to all of you across the globe, cheers. Talk to you soon. and be well.
It gives me great pleasure to be here today.
Oh, it does, Nate. You want to tempt the wrath of the whatever from high atop the thing?